Oh, one sec here. My bad. Get my own echo. Is that better? There we go. Much better for me, at least. Hopefully they can hear me online. Thank you, everyone, and welcome to today's Community Services Committee agenda. We've got a little bit of an agenda here today, but looking over the report, we have no delegations, and so we'll jump right into reports. To that, I'll move it over to our director, Arlen Miller, for his service area report. Arlen, thank you.
Good morning, and thanks, Chair Thiessen. So I'll start off with Community Knowledge Campus. And Grande Prairie Minor Hockey recently hosted 2 hockey tournaments at the Coca-Cola Centre with very positive feedback on how our staff maintained a very clean facility, and the guests also met the REP requirements. Some information, the Eastlink Centre 10-year anniversary launched with a media release last week, highlighting a year of celebrations and the Christmas Stocking Stuffer campaign, which goes on sale December 10th. And just some staff recognition as well. I'm pleased to share that one of our staff members, Lana Sieben, she's a CKC certified fitness specialist, has now become a certified high performance specialist. It's the first of its kind in Canada through the Canadian Society of Exercise Physiology High Performance Specialization. So the designation will allow CKC to offer maximal testing, occupational testing to Northern Alberta, BC and the territories, as well as Lana can now facilitate the RCMP pair testing. That's a physical fitness test that applicants and existing members of the RCMP have to take from time to time. And it's the first time we've actually had the opportunity to facilitate it here. And previously, when I was in the RCMP, we actually had to bring up instructors from Edmonton to administer the testing. So it's another win for our staff and for the city. With events and entertainment, just a reminder that we have many shows on sale for the holidays at Bonats Energy Centre, including comedian Jerry Hotz, the Alberta Curling Championships, Friends of the Musical Parody, the Glorious Sons, Johnny Reed, as well as The Offspring, and you can buy those tickets online through bonatsenergycentre.com. And then with facilities, an update on the animal shelter. The project is on schedule. The roof has been installed. The mechanical and electrical are just being roughed in, or near completion of the rough-in. And then with Bonats Energy Centre, the concession renovation will start early 2022. And then Fleet is pleased to let us know they have the second of the 2 30-foot transit buses arrived a couple days ago. With sports development, wellness and culture, information about they'll be hosting multiple holiday-themed programs, including Santa's Little Bakers and Holiday Camp as well. And that team of staff have also planned a New Year's celebration in Muskosipi Park, including in-person festivities as well as dual fireworks once again. And the final touches are being put on the activity center in the Smith subdivision, and we're hoping to open later this month. And then that facility will also operate under the REP program, similar to other rec facilities in the city. With transit, two new temporary routes began December 4th. One serves the hospital, the other will include the activity center route as well. And we're also pleased to offer, it's an accessible transit customer appreciation event. So we'll be offering free service to our clients to view the Northern Spirit Light Show. And we have a few different dates clients can pick from, including December 10th to the 12th, the 17th to the 19th, and the 22nd to the 24th. And if clients are interested in partaking in that, they just need to book in advance through the dispatch office, or they can also talk to their drivers when they're being picked up for other routine trips. And also the heated bus shelter is in the process of being installed at GPRC. So that's my report, Mr. Chair, unless there's any questions.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Director Miller, and big congratulations to Ms. Sieben for taking herself to the next level and benefiting not just our community but the city of Grande Prairie as well. I'll turn it over to my committee members. I see Councillor Bressy, Councillor Bosch, and then Councillor Berg all on the queue. And take it away, Councillor Bressy.
Great, thank you. Not a question, but I did quietly say to Director Miller last week how much I appreciate that Accessible Transit, the Northern Light Show, and I just wanted to say publicly to Director Miller and his staff and anybody else involved, I think that's a really good thing that we're doing, and I just really appreciate that. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the feedback.
Thank you for your acknowledgement of kindness there, Councillor Bressie. Councillor Bosch.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. This is just basically on Councillor Bressie's comments. My question is, how are these clients being informed? Like, is there a email that goes to them, a letter, an invitation? Because potentially they may not be on that transit system to find out this information.
All right. Thanks, Chair Thiessen. I know we do have some posters, and I assume the posters are also on the buses, but I'll double check on that, and I'll make sure that I'll talk to our communications department as well and make sure we have information on the website.
It's not only good for them, it's good for our community to see what we're doing as a city for, clients that are using our transit system. I think it needs to be, a shout out.
Okay, good. Thank you for the comments.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bosch. Councillor Berg.
Yeah, two items. I want to thank you as well for being that thoughtful at this time of year around the festival. It's wonderful, and I'm glad that these people can experience that. The question that I have is around the animal shelter. Again, this is a rookie question. You talked about a building with roof. Where is the building, and who's running it?
All right. Through the chair, I can provide some comments. It's a regional animal shelter, and it's located in I forget the name of the industrial park out by the airport, Rocheux. It's been in existence for quite some time. So this is an add-on. We're adding on a garage space, also doing some work on the septic system at the site. It's jointly funded between the city and the county. There's a percentage to both municipalities. I think it might be 60-40. And there's some other details in the agreement as well for capital improvements to the site. So it's actually operated by county staff, and with a lot of collaboration from city staff as well.
Okay, so this is separate from Bandage Paws then?
Yes, it is. It's right beside. I believe Bandage Paws is still in the old SPCA building.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I appreciate the information.
Thank you very much, Councillor Berg. There seems to be a lot of love in this room here today for you, Director Miller. So I do have a question just in regards to the temporary routes. I really appreciate that administration is making sure that patrons of our transit service have access to the hospital and a route that'll take them there, as well as to our recreation center in the Smith subdivision. Both of those, I imagine, will be part of their regular service come springtime.
Thanks, Chair Thiessen. Absolutely, I'm sure they will be. In the spring, we'll have the new route plan rolled out, but these are temporary until that time, but I'm sure they will be included.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. That was my question. Any further questions or compliments for Director Miller? Seeing nothing but smiles for you, so I'm sure you'll get love behind the scenes here. I will move right along to item number 3.2, the de-accessioning of artifacts from the Grande Prairie Museum collection. To that, we have Mr. Charles Taves, Curator and Historical Resource Supervisor at the museum. Welcome, Charles.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. City Council is the governing board for the Grande Prairie Museum, and from time to time, decisions such as de-accessioning from the collection need to be made. De-accessioning is a regular museum function to ensure the relevance of its collection, and ethical industry guidelines are used for such a process, and these have been used in crafting the city's de-accession guidelines, which in turn are based on the Alberta Museum Association's Standard Practices Handbook for Museums and for provincial policy. Some items that we de-accession will find uses in our prop and program collections. Here they can be used more for hands-on study. We don't allow most artifacts to be touched by our visitors because they're delicate, but if they're not needed for the collection, we can use them for hands-on study. Others are damaged and are no longer useful, but in all cases, we follow the de-accession guidelines, which are in the city procedure 119.1. All museum functions stem from its collection. It's a useful, well-kept, and relevant collection will enhance our exhibits, programs, and events. And this is a necessary part of our good collections management. Also helps to ensure that our storage area is being well utilized. I would ask that committee recommend to council to approve the de-accessioning of the artifacts from the Grande Prairie Museum's collection as we have listed.
Thank you very much for that report, Charles. I really appreciated the list of the items that was going through, and just a quick scan will tell you that most of the items that we're de-accessioning here are damaged goods. So I'll turn it over to committee to see if there's any questions in regards to this. And seeing none, oh wait, Councillor Berg.
Yeah, do I make the motion and then we speak, or do I speak before the motion?
Well, it looks like Councillor O'Toole had his hand up as well and gave me a nod. I'll definitely take your motion after Councillor O'Toole has a question or comment, and then we'll go from there.
So, Charles, I have a question for you. These items are no longer presentable in the museum, or we have too many of them, and or damaged, whatever the case may be. Is there any, are you thinking of selling these, or just transporting or transferring them into an area where they can be handled on a lot more frequent basis?
Mr. Toss?
Through Chair Thiessen, the items will be de-accessioned following the guidelines. I'm not anticipating selling any of them. In procedure 119.1, it talks about they'll be offered to other museums first, and some of them, such as the damaged records, probably won't have anyone interested, so they'll probably be disposed of. But we're hoping to find other museums for the other items that will be de-accessioned. So no, I'm not anticipating selling any of these.
I didn't think you would. I know you're pretty heartful on the museum items and the museum itself, but sometimes you just got to ask the question so you know for yourself. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor O'Toole, and thank you very much, Mr. Taze. I think all of us on council recognize your passion for a museum and the preservation of artifacts and presenting local history and context. So, in saying that comment, I'll just turn it over to Councillor Berg for a motion to present.
Sure, I'll speak to it, I guess, first, if that's within the procedure. So I've been part of a historical resources committee in the past, and just putting it in very layman's terms, there's a difference between historic and old. And so it's a matter of finding what is historic. And again, from the items that I look at, they're old. And some of them too are without provenance. So in other words, what is the historical relevance? And if there is no historical relevance to it, then again, it just falls into the category of old. And again, for what a lot of people can do is they clean out their garages and we'll dump it on the steps of these different museums, and then it becomes a burden on them. So again, I fully support this. So I'll support it with the motion that the committee recommend council approve de-accessioning the artifacts from the Grande Prairie Museum's collection is listed.
Thank you very much, Councillor Berg. That motion is in order. I'll look to the rest of committee and council for any discussion or debate. Seeing none arising, I will call to question. And that motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Taves. I'll let you go on to the rest of your day here. We appreciate your time here today and presenting the report.
Thank you very much.
Right, moving right along, we're moving on to item number 3.3, or yes, 3.3 grant reallocation. And to that effect, we have Miss Katie Bieberdorf here to present to committee. Welcome, Katie.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Thiessen. Over the last year, a number of grants have had low uptake due to the pandemic, resulting in unallocated funds in three particular streams of funding. So the first funding stream is large-scale tourism funding. We have $40,000 remaining in the budget for this fund. Administration does receive a number of requests to support smaller scale sporting competitions, and there's currently no funding stream available that applies to sporting competitions. So the existing Arctic Winter Games Fund does support bidding to bring sporting events to Grande Prairie, but not actual hosting of the event. So it's recommended that we take the $40,000 from large-scale tourism funding and defer it to 2022 and 2023 for the purpose of funding sport competitions, and that would be to a maximum of $2,000 per event. The second funding stream is arts development funding. Across the arts development funding as a whole, we did have low uptake this year, and we actually had some festival funding that had to be returned due to canceled events. It's anticipated that we will have a number of festivals returning in 2022 and looking for support. So we are recommending that $40,000 from arts development funding is deferred to 2022 to support festivals as well as major projects. And the third and final funding stream is specific to neighborhood associations and the community improvement grant. The neighborhoods have been struggling to rebuild associations and get volunteers to help build community throughout the pandemic. So we would have administration work with the associations to encourage and support rebuilding associations, putting on community events and projects within the neighborhoods. So administration is recommending $30,000 of remaining funds for neighborhood associations be deferred to 2022 to support initiatives to rebuild communities. So administration is recommending the three motions to defer funds as outlined in the report. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Bieberdorf. I'll look around. I see Mayor Clayton in the queue, and we'll go right to her first. Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Chair Thiessen. Thanks for this report. I have numerous questions. I guess I'll go through them until you get other people in the queue, Chair Thiessen, and feel free to put someone else in. Ms. Bieberdorf, can you remind me, the replenishment of these funds, is it on a calendar basis?
Through the chair, yes, that's correct.
Okay, so huge advocate for sport tourism, and appreciate the huge value it has in our community. From a hospitality perspective, it balances the ebbs and flows of business from oil and gas sector in that hospitality sector. Sport tourism is the one thing that can really make or break hospitality in this region. So I like the intent here. Couple concerns. Is there intent from yourself to bring back criteria? It's a little loose for me, and so you know, the large scale tourism funding is fairly specific. I do like the intent of sport tourism. I think it's something that council, in my opinion, should speak at a higher level in regards to strategic planning this February. I would support this for the calendar year of 2022. But I think that there, in my personal belief, is an opportunity for our city to support sport tourism at a higher level going forward. And so for me, this year, the reality of a large-scale tourism event getting put together in this calendar year that we haven't heard of already is probably not very likely. Administration, if there was a large-scale tourism event going to happen in the 2022 calendar year, the reality is administration probably has heard from them already. Maybe later in the fall, but not happening this summer if we haven't heard about it already. So I appreciate the $40,000 going to sport tourism, but only for 2022 because of the fact that I think council needs to have a bigger discussion on that. So a couple things in addition. Would like to see some parameters come back. Also would be interested in changing the criteria from 5,000 to from 2,000 to 5,000. There's various levels of sport tourism, and I think that with an amount of up to 5,000, we may see bigger bids and sport tournament bids. So I like where you're going with this. I just don't think it's ready for my support yet, just because I need more information on this. I need some criteria. I need consideration for larger scale sport tourism in there, and would like to see it in only for 2022. Same thing in regards to festival funding. Festival funding is a little bit loose wording in my opinion. Festivals typically fall under large scale tourism, unless it's a small community festival. But you know, I need to see some more specifics on who would qualify for that, who would qualify for large-scale tourism, what that looks like. And that being said, I think that, I need to know what the maximum is that people can apply for. So maybe you already have these questions answered, Ms. Bieberdorf, and if you do, great, and I'll wait for your response. If not, I'm just wondering if maybe we can come back with more information in the criteria, et cetera, on those two items specifically.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mayor Clayton. I did see Ms. Cazalet pop on. I know that Ms. Bieberdorf probably has a pretty good idea on where the festival funding goes. I'll just throw my 2 cents on the festival funding. It's very much like the large-scale tourism event funding is pretty well detailed, and most of the events are small community events, such as the Troyanda Ukrainian dance event, or Aboriginal Days, or even like Heritage Days pursuits. And these are mainly for, like, I guess, kickoff events or smaller festivals. Typically, the largest grant amount that's usually ever handed out is about $14,000 in that festival funding, and they go throughout the whole year where we hand out festival funding. So,
Okay, so then I'm good on that one. Thank you.
awesome. And
The sport tourism one.
yeah, anything to add there to the sports tourism aspect, Ms. Bieberdorf?
Sure, yes, thank you, Chair Thiessen. So we have started drafting criteria. A couple specific components we are looking at is having provincial, Western, or national events, for example. We have invitational events that occur regularly in the city, but to get some of the larger events would be the intent on a provincial or national scale, but we definitely have a draft and can certainly bring back what we were looking at for this grant.
Okay, so if you have other people in the queue, go ahead. But if not, I'll make some comments on the.
Yeah, I'll allow you to comment first, Mayor Clayton, and then I
Thanks.
got Councillor Bosch in the queue.
So
and
thank you for that. The other two motions, as indicated in the package, make sense to me, and it would, for me, it's just on the large scale tourism funding. I would be prepared to make a motion to direct administration to bring back to this standing committee additional information in regards to sport hosting grants for 2022.
Awesome. Well, that motion is in order. Obviously, that's only part of what we're looking for here today. So I will look around the table and see if there's any discussion or debate on the mayor's motion. I'll just look to our recording clerk. She's got it. Our legislative services specialist is on the motion. So seeing no discussion or debate, I'll call it to question. And that motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Mayor Clayton. And I'll turn questions over to Councillor Boss and then Councillor Berg.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. Just another question with the large-scale tourism events. If we haven't heard anything as of yet in regards to something happening in 2022, where does this $40,000 go if we haven't used it all?
Through the chair, the $40,000 would go back into general operating surplus. So the money that we're looking to defer was allocated specifically to 2021. So we haven't had any further requests in 2021, and we also have $100,000 already budgeted for 2022 for large-scale tourism. So there shouldn't be any impact on that budget next year.
Looks like all's good there. I saw Ms. Cazalet unmute online, and then she muted right back up. So thank you very much, Katie Bieberdorf. Councillor Berg.
Yeah, so there's a line in here. The funding will be directed towards the festival funding stream, but can also be used for special projects, such as unique displays of artwork. So my question is this run through city administration, or is it run through the Art Gallery of Grande Prairie? I guess for me, I would love to see it used, but I don't see enough structure there and enough direction to actually see that through and actually get used. So again, this is a rookie thing. So could I actually make a motion that administration come back to committee with some direction and some structure on how that would be implemented? And again, follow up to even the mayor, where she's saying, is this 2,000, is it 4,000? Because there's no dollars allotted to that either.
Okay, I believe that motion's in order, but if I could get you to repeat the motion. Yeah, just to clean it up. I know that it caught me by surprise, and I figured, yeah.
So if I could get a motion that administration bring back to committee some structure and parameters around the unique displays of artwork.
Okay, that's not bad for a rookie. Just teasing you, Councillor Berg. And now I'll just look to administration. Ms. Bieberdorf, would with this motion, would that give you enough direction to present something back to council, or Ms. Cajolet?
Go ahead, Steph.
Thank you through the chair. So currently through the arts development funding stream, there is criteria for each type of grant or scholarship that could be administered through that fund overall. And that fund is administered through administration in collaboration with the Community Advisory Committee. So it would be the intent, similar to the sport hosting grants, that we would utilize the Community Advisory Committee to also look at applications for that before bringing recommendations back to council. But we can certainly circulate that information to council.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Cajolet.
Should I withdraw my motion then?
Yeah, I was going to just politely ask if maybe, because Ms. Cajolet just answered kind of what was going on in my brain there, that we do have that funding set aside.
Yeah, I withdraw my motion.
Thank you very much, Councillor Berg. I'll look around for any further questions or discussion or motions to finish this item off here today. As a chair, I personally can't make any motions. So we do have one that was approved, and that was to bring back more information on the sports hosting grant. So essentially, I'd be looking for a motion that committee recommend council carry forward grant funds of $40,000 in arts development funding to be used for festival funding in 2022, and $30,000 in neighborhood association funding to be used for community building opportunities in 2022. Councillor Berg. All right, Councillor Berg will make that motion. Just for those who are watching online and didn't hear Councillor Berg, so
I will make that motion.
Oh, now you heard him. Awesome. Okay, thank you very much. I see Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Chair Thiessen. I guess a question for committee. Support the intent of this motion, but if you're looking for more specifics, this one also could be deferred to the next standing committee for further discussion for, there's a little bit of background and parameters here. If you're comfortable with the intent at a high level, fine. But if you'd like to know more about what that looks like in regards to community building opportunities, I just suggest that maybe you defer and direct administration to bring back additional information.
Okay, so I will withdraw that motion again, and I will make a motion very similar to what Mayor Clayton had just said.
All right, so that would be to bring back to the next standing.
Direct administration to bring back additional information. Supporting the initiatives in the community building opportunities, just for information for council to make these decisions. And no fault of administration, there are 5 newbies on committee. Some of this information is readily available. And so just let's have further discussion. I don't want the Community Services Committee to feel that what they're recommending is inappropriate or potentially won't be supported. Just, I think committee and committee should have more information, and then in turn council can have a more wholesome discussion. Thanks.
Thank you very much for that, Mayor Clayton. Yes, an informed council does make better decisions. So, so that motion is in order. I'll just comment to it. I did hear going around the table that there are some events that we haven't heard about yet, but there are some events that we have heard about so far, like that likely will apply for the large-scale tourism. That would be Buck Wild, which has done very well, and they're getting even bigger through their exposure in Grande Prairie and on TSN, as well as our Stampede, which hasn't really participated due to COVID over the past couple of years. So with that being said, I look forward to the extra information and to discuss that further, and I'll just look for that motion to pop up, and then I'll call the question. Oh, point of order. Ms. Van Beekveld.
Thank you, Councillor Thiessen. Councillor Berg, might I suggest that you recommend that we defer this item until further information is...
So I withdraw my motion and recommend that we...
I'll just wordsmith it a little.
Wordsmith it, thank you.
Hey, you did all right, Councillor Berg. That's why we bring the professionals like Ms. Van Beekveld in here to keep us in check. And all is good. Yes, Mayor Clayton.
Just a question for Ms. Bieberdorf before she signs off. Is it fair and appropriate that this information will come back to the next standing committee? I don't want to delay this as events start to plan for 2022. So if at all possible, if this discussion could be in the next agenda, that would be appropriate.
Ms. Bieberdorf.
Appreciated.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
Awesome. Thank you.
Just going over my council calendar, I believe that'll happen our first meeting in January. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. So there was a motion that did pop up from Ms. Van Beekveld for council to consider, or committee to consider, that committee direct administration to bring back additional information supporting the initiatives regarding the community building opportunities and defer this item. I think that's a motion. Yeah, she'll fix the wording after. Okay, so all this will come back to the next standing committee in January. All right, call to question. All in favor? And that motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Ms. Bieberdorf and Ms. Cajolet for chipping in there, and to Ms. Van Beekveld and to Councillor Berg. There's nothing wrong with being a rookie. You're doing a great job. So the last item we have here is correspondence, item 4.1 at the Art Gallery of Grande Prairie. And just to speak to this item, really talking about the exhibition through the Talking Path group exhibition, the number of people that came through and how it impacted residents going through the gallery. I trust that everybody took a quick view of that, and I'll just be looking for a motion for either direction or to receive for information. Councillor Bosch.
Thank you, Councillor Thiessen. I move to accept this information.
All right, so that motion
presented.
That motion is in order to receive for information as presented. Any discussion or debate on that, on the correspondence? Seeing none, I'll call to question. All in favor? And that passes unanimously. Thank you very much, committee members. I'll now turn the spotlight over to Director Miller to update us on the outstanding items list. Director Miller.
All right. Thanks, Chair Thiessen. So just 3 items on the list, and 2 are due at the end of January and still on track. And then the one actually, cost disparities in Twin Ice Arenas, was due today, so I apologize for that. Upon going through the report, we decided we wanted to analyze the data a little bit more. So if I could move that one to January 4th, please. And then it's either going to be Ms. Bieberdorf or Ms. Cajolet reporting on it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Director Miller. And looking around, any discussion on the items presented? Seeing none, I'll look for a motion to approve the outstanding items as amended. Councillor Berg.
Yeah, I move committee receive the December 7th, 2021 outstanding items list as amended for information.
Thank you very much. That motion is in order. Call the question. And that motion passes unanimously. And with that, I'll call this committee meeting adjourned. Thank you very much for the great questions and conversation and